What are you laughing at?
And I'm always making it to go live. Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning, and something happened in the middle of.
Now.
Is it?
It took that long to set up, Hayley.
22 minutes past.
I know. That's what happens when we don't have our master producer, Nat, here to help us set up.
Outrageous. So at 3 o'clock this morning, I messaged Sarge and I said, we need to get into the studio again. And because we do have quite differing opinions on a lot of things, but
yes.
I came to you with a completely different subject that I wanted to discuss, but then you brought up a really important subject.
An important current subject.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Tell everybody what it's about, Sarge, and what we're going to be discussing today.
All right. So if you have been living under a rock, you might not know that there was a murder-suicide in Melbourne a couple of days ago. It was a mother and her 3 children. And at the start, when news reports first surfaced, it was the media has this way of doing it, of just making it sound like the father was he was helping with questioning, he was getting taken into custody and all that, helping police with their investigation.
Yeah.
But people always think that is okay, he's done it. Like, the media don't dispel that. They go on this, again, another man who's killed his wife and the kids. Like, I mean, it's not even a year since Hannah Clark and her 3 kids were burnt by Rowan Baxter, and that was, I cried that day when that happened, when I read that. And so this is just like that.
Well,
or is it?
It is.
Yeah.
And in everything that's going on in the world at the moment, Sarge, like, this is just typical of trial by media.
Yeah.
And this is the scariest thing, right? About how much power media have and how they can influence and millions and millions and millions of people. And they don't even have the responsibility or the right to kind of correct people. And we see that little, like, as anyway, so I want you to take this because I want to show the reason why you're ticked off, and it's
absolutely
completely validated.
Look, I follow a bunch of men's groups, men's activist groups, and all that, because I believe in equality for people. Call it mainstream femininity, not radical femininity, or feminism. Sorry, I should say.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in that, but I do believe in equality of the genders and the sexes, and I want to see. Not only when we talk about feminism, that women get brought up in the world to be equal with men, but in those issues where men are suffering, well, I also want to see men be brought up to equal women, right? So for me, that's about equality for all. So I watch.
Do you know, that's really interesting, because you just said something that actually just, like, I listen as you talk, and your ideal, and this is, I think, it's really important, something you just said, is you want to bring men up to women. Isn't that, don't you find that funny? And because society says, and if we believe what's being rammed down our throat for the purposes of division, society says it's the other way around.
Yeah, well, but that's if you say, okay, men have had the power, men have ruled the world and cast women aside and oppressed women for centuries or whatever. And look, you know what? I think if you break it down, there's certain aspects of life where men have, which we talk about. Most equality is in the business, in work, and equal opportunity for men and women to do whichever work they want to do. But then if you give them the chance to choose, it's only a minority of the genders that want to do the opposite genders, social roles. Like, if you let people choose like what they want to do, most men are still going to gravitate to the dangerous jobs that earn more money, that keep them away from home more often than females.
Yeah.
Females are going to gravitate to more maternal jobs like the nursing and teaching and things like that. So
I think that if you're just joining us, we're the whole point of actually is coming into the studio this morning is purely because if you're watching, I don't know where you're watching from, but in Australia recently it was in the news that a lady by the name of Katie Paranovic, actually it was first reported that there had been a murder, or what looked like multiple murders, 4 murders, which is the mother, the 3 children, and that the father was in questioning. And I think that that's really shit, because they prematurely reported that without actually waiting. And I get that it's a tragedy. I totally get that.
100%.
Right. But
so I've watched
you can't undo damage.
I watched the police press conference.
Yeah, wow.
And the Victorian, I think it was the assistant commissioner or something like that, he stressed, don't jump to conclusions. Yet the mainstream media jumped to conclusions in the initial reporting of this. Well, it's a crime scene. Yeah. Because even though it's since been found out that the father had nothing to do with the murder-suicide.
Yeah.
But the mainstream media just went out there and just
assumed.
Just assumed.
Well, no, they ran with it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they don't sell paper. They don't sell papers from, anything other than that. But this is what
I think you're wrong there. And the reason why that is, you'll sell papers when you say what the truth in this matter is. It's a murder suicide, and the mother did it. Okay, so but what we're used to seeing is, and look, if you can bring up that photo so a couple of years ago there was it was the second photo. It was a newspaper headline. It was, pure evil. It was a man that killed his wife and kids and stuff like that, right? And apparently that, this is the way that men are portrayed when they, do this. I think he might, I don't know if he took his own life or not or what, but any person that kills a child is evil, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what gender they are. However, if you flip to this particular instance, the mother is oh my God, it's it's terrible, it's tragic what was happening in mental health. She's not called evil.
Well, let's just kind of basic, because I watched something this morning, words are so powerful.
Yes.
Super powerful. Even more so now that we're in full media control, social media control.
Yep.
It's largely around what we're seeing and what we're hearing, and words. And this is why it's multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Marketing and coming up with words that
this is how those rich get richer.
Right. Yeah. So words that incite, motivate, and make you feel something and make you think something.
Pushing an agenda.
Right. So there's a very big distinction between true evil.
Yep.
In relation to a father that has killed children.
Yep.
Than utter tragedy.
Exactly.
I think it's shit.
They're both tragedies.
I agree.
Except in one instance, the male perpetrator has been made out to be evil.
Yeah.
Yet a female perpetrator.
Which they are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yet the female perpetrator in this instance is not made out to be evil. She's made, oh my God, poor woman, poor this, poor that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes to make her do this? Understand? I don't know. I don't even know yet how they died.
Yeah.
Was it drug overdose? Was it stabbing? Was it this, that? I don't know. It's quite it would be hard for a lot of people to hear how it happened. Was it strangulation?
Yeah.
I don't know. But in this instance, the father has come home to this scene and seen that his wife has taken not just her own life, but the lives of his 3 children, or their 3 children as well. And for what reason? For what reason, we don't know yet.
No one knows yet.
At least in this instance, though, if he's a good guy, which there's no reason to believe he's not.
Correct.
If he is a good guy, at least he's alive to, hopefully a little bit of time goes past and he'll be able to have his say. And
this is the thing. He's bloody he's lost. He's
lost his whole family.
3 fucking children and his wife.
Yeah.
It's kind of he's got that to process as well. But there's going to be, and there will be.
And the neighbours.
Huge.
The neighbours have all said on TV, on mainstream media, oh, they were a really lovely couple. She was a really beautiful woman. There was no sign of domestic violence at all. But that's physical.
You do hear that though.
Yeah.
I do hear that in other I hear that all the time. And it's because I watch all these murder on the Netflix, and I watch all the true criminal and
I love those.
I'm a murderer and all this kind of stuff. And quite often the narrative, regardless of whether it's female or male, they're like, oh, they were such a lovely family. They were so quiet.
Yeah.
He used to babysit our kids or whatever have you. So I don't think it's so much that. I just think that it comes down to, you can't recover.
Yep.
Once a statement's been made, the recovery, not only is he now having to grieve for his children and his wife, the media pressure for him to show up and give every gruesome detail about what's happened here is going to be exacerbated by the fact that they jumped the gun and rode a wave. And I get it.
I think he's been vindicated now. I think that this guy, Tom, I think that everyone now is not thinking he's a criminal, evil, murderer. No one's thinking that now.
Well, hang on. But
that's not the issue here, Hayley.
No, I get it. But I just want to say that with the media, do we believe that though?
Okay, so there's more things happening. Okay, can you bring up the book that I've been trying to read? It's an audio book by Jess Hill, and ironically, Jess Hill lives in Melbourne, or as far as I'm aware, she resides in Melbourne. So, see what you made me do. This is a book about domestic and family violence, and I've been trying to get through this book, but it is so hard for me to get through this book because Jess Hill, I've never met her, I've never spoken to her or whatever, but she blames men almost wholly and solely for all domestic violence. And so in this issue, she's going to be saying something along the lines, if she's following her narrative in her book, she's going to be saying things like, well, that husband must have done something. He must be the perpetrator and made his wife do that. See what you made her do, because he must be the perpetrator. And that's not the case at all. Like, this guy's probably, if there's any mental illness, it could be, let's find out, is it his that's got this mental illness, or was it her that was suffering mental illness? Because I know a couple of girlfriends ago, right? I had a girlfriend, I was with her for 3 years. We did a freaking reality TV show together, right? Because of our relationship wasn't going very well. And the reason is because we've both got mental health issues. I've got PTSD from my military service, and also have ADHD. No. So have you. And that's fine. But so when I started dating her, I thought she was gorgeous. She'd just come off The Bachelor. I thought, I'm doing awesome here. Like, she's, I'm batting out of my station again. Yeah. And she said everything I needed to hear for those first few weeks that we got together. And then I started to see the red flags. And then not long, within a couple of months, I sat down with her, and after she was manic, she was yelling at me, she was doing all sorts of stuff. And I sat down with her and I said, have you been diagnosed with a mental health issue? Because I can see some things that you should go and see a psychologist for. Yeah. And all she said was, they don't do anything. All they do is talk. They don't help. Yeah. And I'm like, that's how they help. Yeah. But the issue is, she didn't want to go and get her mental health issue dealt with. Okay. And then a couple of years later, she goes, oh, let's go on this reality TV show. Let's see if we get picked up for it. And we did. And I was like, well, we're going to have to see psychologists like every second day.
Fully exposed as well. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to help. I was really hoping that show would help reveal that her mental health issues. I talked about mine on the show. Most of it got cut and didn't make it to the show.
We've got some questions here, babe. So I just want to kind of like...
I'll just finish up on this first, Hayley, and we'll get back to
it quickly. You're right.
So, but basically what I'm saying is, I fought for 3 years to try and support a woman who had mental health issues but didn't want to get diagnosed and didn't want to get like proper support, right? Because how do you get support if you don't want to get diagnosed? Yeah. Okay. And then I was made out to be a perpetrator or like a bad human in that relationship on TV, and that got misrepresented, and that's fine. We've talked about that in the past. But what about this guy, Tom? What if he's trying to support the love of his life and his wife? She might have mental health issues, yet it's too much for all these kids. Maybe she never recovered from like what is it when you get stressed out and depression?
The baby blues. Yeah. Postnatal depression.
Postnatal depression.
Yeah.
And maybe she's never really recovered from that. And maybe he's been there to support her, and then it's got too much for her.
Well, there's too many moving parts, and this is the line I believe that media feel. This is my view, that media feel, and it's okay. Yes, we want to hear about these stories, and we want to hear about the tragedies and all this kind of stuff, because it keeps. What is the purpose of that? Is it to sell papers? Yes, it really is. But is it to try and keep society aware of what can happen? Right. But then media are imposing themselves in somebody's private life. And there are so many moving parts to any situation, and especially one where you've got somebody that's got mental health issues, and they've got a family, and they've got a husband, and they've got a wife. So, and this is where it begs the question, like, what right do the media even have to even ask those questions? And then hang these
freedom of speech.
Got you. Yeah, not the media though. What right do the media have to ask these questions of these people going through these tragedies, and then put pressure on them to actually divulge personal information, and not allowing these people to actually go through these things by themselves? Because he didn't ask to be covered in the media. She didn't ask to be covered in the media. And obviously, well, she's dead and the children are dead. But he didn't ask for that. And now he's got to deal with the media backlash. And you said before, well, now he's been vindicated.
I feel that.
You do.
I feel, but
you're
it's
reasonable.
only my opinion.
You're a reasonable person.
I can't wait to hear. I would love to know what's going through his head. I'd love to know how he's being treated.
What about the people that are going to be saying things like, "There's no smoke without fire"?
Yeah, well, like Jess Hill probably is.
Correct.
So
that's correct.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not right. It's not right, and it actually does my head in. So, like that book, are you reading it now?
I'm trying to get through it. I've started it like weeks ago. And I'm trying to get through that. But every time I start listening to it, her perception, or her, like, she skews results. She skews like statistics in that. she adds her own opinion, but makes it sound like what the media does, make it sound like that's the way it is. And like, I can't wait to go back through that book and actually pick out bits and pieces that are just like pointing people the wrong way. She thinks that all domestic violence comes from men, and there are so many men out there and awesome women as well that know that's not the case, but we don't talk about it as much, and that's why we're talking about it right now.
I think correct, and I think that statistically it is obviously more likely in a scenario for a man to inflict domestic violence because of the statistics.
Physical violence,
correct,
and it's more likely for a woman to inflict mental abuse on men. But this is the problem. This is where we're at, right? I had a situation years ago where we were talking about SIDS and kind of like, you know, and it's not related to this topic, but I think the point is relevant, that like, unless there has been absolute long and dedicated study to one particular issue, I get that we have all the stats and data for the physical because you can see it. Well, we don't, because so many people underreport it.
They
Women,
don't,
but
correct.
More men, and it's
we've got some. This is what I'm saying, right? So we've got some data for the physical abuse that goes on with men against women, right? We don't have and haven't had until recent times, or even recognized or accepted that there are other forms of domestic violence.
This is true.
And this is the problem we're running into. And this is why it's going to take, I mean, we've run like this, like 50, 60, 100 forever, right? So now it's going to take a long period of time to gather.
I don't think it has to. Think about it. I know you've said like this has been going on for a long time, 100 years plus, right? But social media, the way the world is connected, the World Wide Web, we never had that 20, 30, 40 years ago.
No.
We are so more connected now that we can get this information out a lot quicker than we could have in the past. So will it take as long to undo all of this that it took to do up? No, I don't think it would. But people have to not just believe in their own opinions, but open their minds to everybody else's opinions.
Got you.
And don't just go on skewed statistics, but get the statistics from both sides.
Got you.
And then use that.
However, the only thing you up against here now is generational informing. So people that are of a certain generation may not even be accepting that. So then the problem and the danger with that is, you know, like the teachings in the home and the passed on behaviors and beliefs and morality and all that kind of stuff. It will take time because of that, because you are suggesting that everybody reads information and takes it on and then starts to.
Well, no, they don't. But the more we talk about it, the
better.
So this is why it's important that the mainstream media get their story straight and don't skew it one side or the other
100%
straight away. So, but I
agree.
Yep. All right. So what were some of the questions that you've got over there?
Well, I've got questions, but I also want you to, because that was such a good.
Put this up first, and then we'll get into some questions. So,
when
the media says, okay, a man has killed children, his wife committed suicide, all this, all of a sudden, what does it say there? So a male offender in this situation, does it say kill him, rot in hell? Like, what else does it say there?
It says kill him, rot in hell, fucking weak animal, scumbag, dog act, cut his balls off, shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a female offender.
Yeah, female offender, go for it, because I can't read it from here.
You're right. So me barely, and I'm struggling
go.
and shit. We old, poor mother, rip, R.I.P. to the poor mother.
Her,
She had no other choice. Loving mother kills. No one helped her out. Heart goes out to the mum. She loved them kids.
What's the mental health?
She had mental health issues.
Now, what does it say on the other side? Mental health is not an excuse.
Yeah, mental health is no excuse. For men.
And this is
bullshit.
This is the gender divide that we have. That that mainstream people that I don't want to include the radicals because they've all got their own agendas. But this is what we want to try to get to the mainstream person.
Yeah,
is that we're still treating men and women differently, even for the same situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, we go back to Hannah Clark and Rowan Baxter. She was a fighter. She was such an awesome person. I follow her parents because they've got, they're trying to bring an end to mental illness. So domestic violence with like mental abuse, not physical abuse, but the mental abuse, like gaslighting and manipulative,
hectic,
manipulative behavior, financial, abuse, all that sort of stuff. That's what they're trying to do, and I'm following them, and I want to support them because it's Brisbane, right?
Can I make a suggestion, right? Because, my son's 14 years old, and to my horror, he's just started dating, and he's great. But it is awesome.
I hope you're teaching him well.
I am. And this is part of the issue because he was dating somebody recently who actually was displaying those types of qualities, the emotional gaslighting, the control. And she's only 13 years old. So it starts young. And it's parenting. How is it not parenting? It can be both. It can be parental. It can be nature and nurture. Because I think that you can be intrinsically narcissistic. You can be.
Oh, no,
but you can display narcissistic behaviors based on what you've been taught, and then you can self-correct once you have an awareness. But true narcissists don't have that self-awareness. They don't self-correct, and they continue to be narcissistic and inflict narcissistic abuse on anyone who'll take it. Men, women, or indifferent.
Well, I know 2 men in my life at the moment. One, Jared, we've had him on the show, and he's trait neurotic, and he knows it. And he lives his life knowing that and being able to. His wife knows it. We've had her on the show and their kids, and the kids turn 2 this weekend. I think I'm going to their birthday party tomorrow. So, and
did you get him a good present?
My presents is presents enough.
I love it.
I'm going to drive all the way to the Gold Coast so
there you go.
Anyway, so he knows that he struggles from like he'll like fly off the handle really good, not fly off the handle, but he'll react without thinking, like straight away. He just
short
fuse, all that sort of stuff. And his wife is almost the opposite, and they work so well together. And he knows that about himself, and he respects that about himself, and so he can control that. Whereas I got another male in my friends circle at the moment who struggles understanding that he's very inappropriate in life, and his fathering. I know his father. wasn't very good, and with his upbringing and things like that, and we've talked about that, him and I, and so I see two narcissistic or two neurotic guys, okay, that one understands his situation, the other one doesn't, and he doesn't understand he wants to learn, but he doesn't know how to interact with society, and he's so socially inappropriate so many times, but he doesn't actually understand it. And this is parenting, and this is understanding.
And don't you think that that's sad? Because if he was in a wheelchair, or
Stephen Hawking,
if he was if he was in a wheelchair, or if he was on crutches, or if he had MS or some physical stuff that you could see, society would accommodate.
Really?
Bend, flex, help.
You know what? I still think, okay, if I see someone in a wheelchair, I think, okay, I'll give them but if that person's rude, like,
oh no, I don't.
You know what I mean? Like, so if that person is still social, like doing things that aren't socially acceptable,
correct.
Like, I'm still going to stand up and say, hey, no, like, I will get out of the way for someone in a wheelchair or whatever.
Yeah.
I still think they should be thanking people for that. They shouldn't just be a victim and, well, it was me and I didn't just cruise through and just everyone should get out of my way, whatever.
Correct.
If I see someone in a wheelchair or this or that, whatever, and they're being really rude to people because they think other people should just bow to their every women need, I'm sorry. However,
disability is no excuse.
Don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't have any empathy for them. Of course I do.
Oh, no, I get that. Yeah.
But there's a difference between somebody in a wheelchair who thanks those people for like making some room for them, or helping them up some stairs or this or that or whatever, and those that just expect it. And I think that's wrong. And now if there's some mental health issues there,
hey mate, there's people that don't have disabilities and just roll their life like that. They think for the entitled people that,
of course, because
they're older or because they're this, and it's like, well, I'm older.
An excuse?
No, it does my head in. And I used to have fights all the freaking time with respect your elders. No. Respect is earned, and it's a two-way street. And from one way, just because you don't have to just shut up. And this is you understand why I would have copped it, because it's like, no, they've earned their right because of age. I completely and 100% disagree with anything that statement with every fiber of my being.
Yeah,
like you have to give respect and be respectful to have a respectful exchange.
This is how I live my life when I meet new people.
We're off the track here, but I'm loving this combo.
But this is I've said this to so many of my friends know I say this. You trust somebody 0% and respect them 100% until they lose my respect and or gain my trust.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's I live my life like that. And that way you're not going into a new friendship or relationship or a business relationship or whatever, just assuming that, oh yeah, she'll be right, she'll be sweet. Yep. Because that way you can really get fucked over. So anyway, look,
we're heading into that
questions.
25. No, you're right. We've got the 25-minute space. We've actually got a lot of people that are kind of commenting, which is great.
Yep.
And it says here, I came across your live broadcast by chance. I am a graduate of sociology department, and my English is not very good.
That's all right.
But I'm trying to understand. I am someone who has played many theatre plays about femicide before. That's why this live stream caught my attention. Yeah. I wish I could understand everything. Sorry, but I congratulate you both. Beriton, thank you so much. Listen, always feel free to message us and use speaking your own language. Use Google Translate, and we'll try our best to understand what you're saying. Yeah, and communicate.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because that's what it's all about. And that's why I say the world is so much smaller than it used to be. It used to be 7 degrees of separation. Now I think it's like 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I don't know. But so because even with Google Translate now, you can watch a total different language or listen to it, and you can just translate. You can add and translate it back, and you can.
So cool.
Yeah.
I do love it.
It's amazing.
Big tech is cool for some shit, but just not what they're doing at the moment.
Well, it's the same as everything. Using your powers for good, not evil.
And they're paying us compliments here.
Oh, get out.
I'm going to take it.
Yeah, okay.
You know, a little attention seeker me. We're both great conversationalists. Thank you. We love your support. We're very grateful.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, me too.
I'm learning to listen a lot more.
Here we go.
Which is why I love doing this.
Emotional manipulation is overlooked.
Yes.
For abuse in relationship. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
And it actually is disgusting because it's actually we talk about gateways. It depends on whether you believe in gateway drugs. I personally don't. But it's a perfect description. It's the gateway to, I believe, other elevated forms of abuse.
This is what I think. So when you say drugs, what do you mean?
Any drugs? So like if you have a gateway drug, so you'd start with what? Like your alcohol, then marijuana, and then you go to pills and cocaine.
So here's my opinion, but I think it's a pretty grounded opinion. All drugs and alcohol do is amplify an already existing thought that a person might have. So I might really like that girl, but I'm a bit afraid to ask her out. But then I have a few drinks and now I go and ask her out because I've lowered my inhibition, right?
Yeah.
So maybe somebody who wants to hurt somebody and they won't do it while they're sober, but then they get drunk and then they abuse their partner or this or that.
Yeah.
It amplifies something that's already in the head.
And this is why you see on the murders, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol involved. It's a very good point. I love that. If you're looking at ending your life, don't take your kids, don't be selfish and ruin the lives of everyone else. That's so true.
Absolutely.
And there really is no excuse. And I hear this a lot. Oh, she must have been in so much trauma. I'm sorry, but I don't give a fuck. There is no excuse you could give me. I'm sorry.
Look, yes, she would have been in trauma. There's something going on. Now, the thing is, she kills 3 people, her own kids, which is unnatural. So my newly acquired flatmate said that this morning is so unnatural to kill your own offspring. And then that leads me to go on to my own father, who's sending my sister death threats in the last week or two and I know he's got mental health issues, and I know he was brought up not in the best way, but he's been old enough now to understand, and help correct that. But he's 67 years old, and now he's like sending death threats to his own daughter. It's unnatural that someone wants to kill will actually kill their own kids.
And it's abuse.
Of course it's abuse. But then so it's a crime to kill other people, but it's also a crime to kill yourself. Suicide is a crime, except you can't, attempted suicide, and this is what they say. They say 75% of women who attempt suicide actually don't go through with it because it's more of a cry for help.
Yeah.
And it's more, and they do it in a way which they can be saved a bit more. Like it might be pills or alcohol or something like cutting their wrists, and then they're found and they're saved, and they're like, this happens, and it's more a cry for help. I'm not saying it's totally. Men, 75% of men that try to commit suicide do commit suicide because they don't think that there is anybody out there who actually cares or wants to hear about their issues. And we do want to care. And look, that's from a book that I'm reading or listening to at the moment, which is called The Boy Crisis, which is all about.
Oh, no, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I was going to grab that. It bloody came out the other day.
Yeah,
and I saw it. I was like, that looks like a really good read. Is it good?
Absolute brilliant, because Warren Farrell, I hope I got his name right, PhD. This guy.
We'll put links in the bottom anyway, guys.
Absolutely. This guy actually helped start the feminist movement back in New York.
Yeah, wow.
Okay. He was one of the first and only men to have been elevated to a really high position so within the feminist movement. So he's all about equality, but he also sees how fatherless families have affected the children into a way where they're becoming, I mean, is it like, I think it's America, 85% of inmates in America are from fatherless families.
100%.
Is that a coincidence?
No.
And 93% of inmates are male.
Yeah, but okay, wait, because I love this conversation. This is actually another podcast for another day, right?
Podcast.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
But it's not just as linear as that. It's not just as simple as that. It's going, the father left. It's all the shit that happened that led up.
Why did the father leave?
The trauma, but it's the trauma. There could be a multitude of reasons. We've got to wrap this up.
I know we do.
But this is a good one to end it on. So it says, there is no such thing as equality. Men and women are not equal, just like not all men are equal, not all women are equal, nor can there ever be, no matter what any bullshit is
That's
called.
race as well. Races aren't equal.
Yep. And actually, I do agree with that statement.
100%.
However, in the context of this particular conversation, I absolutely think that any murderer, and that's exactly, let's call a spade, it's not a mother that was like a kind, loving mother that's, you know, all of a sudden, what's the story? Surely she didn't mean it. Did she? No, to me, she murdered her children. She's a murderer. That's, call it what it is, because that would be the same if it was a man. There would be no emotional consideration.
Well, I don't want you to do what mainstream media do on Hayley
and
jump to conclusions. So back up and wait until you hear the reasons why. And like I said, the best part about this is that the husband and the father has survived this. And after he's grieved and after you know, he has some time, I hope that he gets his chance to come out and explain from his point of view what actually happened. Yeah. Because I have a feeling that, you know, that he tried to support her and this family as much as he could, and then she took it. Yeah, look, Melody Sierra, last one. Sorry, darling. We're already over anyway, so fuck it. Let's just kind of one more. Yeah. A lot of women don't even know that simply going through their man's phone is DV. It's controlling. Yep. And that's what's happened here. It is DV. And that's, of course. Literally. Okay, we're gonna do one very, very soon, a podcast about all of the aspects of DV. We all know the illegal points of DV, which is like violence and assault and all that. But there's so much DV is not illegal. Yeah. Okay. So is gaslighting illegal? No, but it should be. It should be, but okay. You can't prove it either. It's very hard. Well, you can. Difficult if you've got video evidence, if you can prove it. Okay, exactly. You in some instances you can prove it. Okay, and with technology and cameras everywhere and that, like you can prove it more now than any other time. Mental manipulation, financial control. You can see financial control if you go through. You know, if somebody has the ability to go through the bank accounts and all that sort of stuff. Here's a big one: neglect. Yeah. When a guy marries a woman and then all of a sudden she denies him of sex, and he hasn't had sex for years. Yeah. And his wife won't let him have sex. Yeah. How awful. Or you know what? The other way around. But he cheated. The bastard cheated. I just literally just said the woman did that. Like a guy could do that to a woman as well. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a gender specific role, but what I'm saying is neglect is also a form of domestic violence, which you think, oh, well, it's all right. He's not doing anything to him, but her. I'm going to end like on my thought on this. Wouldn't it be an amazing world that if we could just not, and this is, I think, probably a bit of an issue that and I think this is a normal human thing, right? We all base what we're seeing and what we're hearing based on our own experiences or experiences that we've heard other people go through. So wouldn't it be a wonderful, idealistic way to live? That if the media or anyone, myself included, because I just did the same thing that you called me out on, which I love, and this is why we hang out. It is why we hang out. We don't agree on everything, but we're able to have conversations and respect each other. Yeah. Respect and opening your mind to other people's opinions. Yeah. And then be able to talk about that when you've got fact. Yeah. And come up with the best solution for the community, not just for your own agenda. Well, and I think the ability to be able to actually take each case, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, male, female. It doesn't matter where you're from, gay, whether you're straight, gay, straight, low socioeconomic, you know, rich and fancy. There's so many. I couldn't think of the word there for the other one. For the rich mofos. I don't think we should. I think we should take and wait and be. I think it comes down to research, and it comes down to getting your facts straight. Yeah. And don't push an agenda. And just, you know what? Yeah. Don't be ready to witch hunt and hang people so quickly. There would be just as many. And I'm not, and here's my thing. I'm not saying we need to call this woman, she's passed away now, she's killed herself. Okay. I'm not saying we need to call her evil. We need to do this. What I'm saying is stop calling men that. If you're not going to do it with women, don't do it with men.
Don't do it with men.
Yeah.
Love it.
Don't call the men evil.
Well, guys,
treat them evenly.
Bloody perfect way to wrap it up.
Thanks,
100%.
mate.
Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday morning. Sarge and I will be back, and I'm sure we've got plenty to discuss in the future.
We'll have tomorrow off, and I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday, guys. So
see you guys.
Thanks for joining us. Oh, and if you like, please, can you please go and follow us on TikTok at Obsessed Hub, Instagram at Obsessed Hub, Clapper at Obsessed Hub. And also, of course, on our website, we have got all sorts of things going on there. And we also have cool merchandise. We don't get paid to do this. Anything that you do buy goes to supporting for the equipment and things. And we continue to do what we do.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your support, guys.